my name's Kerri. I work as a NHS dietitian in Glasgow. That's kind of my main job, but I also work in sports nutrition. I do that kind of freelance on the side, and I also work as a personal trainer. And then to throw some other things in the mix, it's on social media. And well, obviously as the Dietitian Kitchen, just sharing recipes, sharing some workout inspiration and some nutrition information and things on there as well. So yeah, keeps me busy. I think it probably all started when I was in high school. I actually was probably one of the few folk that enjoyed home economics in school. So I think a lot of people maybe took it as a bit of a skive, but I actually found it really interesting when they started to tell us, different bits about how nutrients work in our body and how it can make it work better, how it can make it us feel better, and it kind of all stemmed from there. I remember coming home and asking my mum one day, like, how can I work in nutrition, like, because I hadn't ever heard of a dietitian before, and I always remember my mum works in the health service, and she was like, oh, a dietitian, like, and told me all about it, and then it's kind of just stemmed from there. I've always had a passion for cooking and things as well, so I think it just teamed up quite well. So yeah, hard, I guess, in some way. I think by the time I decided that I wanted to do it, it was probably in third or fourth year in school. So I'd already chosen like the subjects that I wanted to do for like standard grade, which would obviously then lead you on to hires. And at that point, I hadn't. I think one of the main things, the trickiest thing was, is I hadn't taken chemistry in third or fourth year, and needed it higher. And I was the weird person that took biology and physics. So I ended up having to crash higher chemistry in sixth year. But I was fortunate that I had got the rest of my hires in fifth year, and then it allowed me a bit more extra time in sixth year when things are a little bit more laid back, if that's the right way to put it. It's been good. A difficult kind of career path with regards to going through uni. You're expected to go on clinical placements for 12 weeks at a time, and you do 2 of those and then another 4-week one, and you're kind of expected to go anywhere in Scotland. Well, at the time when I was going through uni, where just because the placement situation was a little bit tricky, so they had to just try and find somewhere for you to go. So you could be moved around everywhere. So there's some of my friends that were up in the Orkney Islands, and it was good fun. I would think I worked up in Stirling for a little while, and then I was down in Ayrshire, so it wasn't too far for me, but yeah, it was good. I think probably, well, more personally for myself, I think as much as I would like to call myself a people person, I love speaking to people. There's probably an element of, I don't know if shyness is the right word, but when I was younger anyway, trying to have the confidence to speak to people, for example, when you were on placement, so speaking to doctors and speaking to nursing staff, that, you know, professionals, when you weren't just quite there yet, or maybe if you just started, it was just trying to get your confidence and stuff up with it. I think that was probably one of the biggest things. And then also just having your, I suppose, confidence in your own abilities, and then also being able to learn how to work with different people who maybe have a different way of working than you, and different things like that, and just trying to adapt to working with different people, which you're not really used to doing when you're at uni and things. So, but I think after, you know, it would be the same for any job. I'm sure that after you've graduated and you start trying to get your foot in the door with becoming your own professional, it's never going to be easy, and it's out your comfort zone. But I think if you like what you do a lot, then it tends to make it a little bit easier. I think that's been something I'm grateful for, because I think it must be really hard if people, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on people, that there's a pathway that they should be following: school, uni, and into work, and it doesn't need to be like that. I think for me, it was just that I was lucky that I knew what kind of job role I wanted to go in, and, you know, there was a clear route to get there, which it isn't like that for everyone in certain careers. So yeah, I guess I've been a lucky person with regards to that. I think I've been, again, probably one of the lucky ones that I've actually always had quite a good relationship with food. I would say at one point, probably just at the tail end of high school and before I went into uni, there was a time where I was probably quite focused on like how many calories I burned when I was exercising. And I think I was fortunate, I suppose, that at the time when I started uni, that was when I obviously started to learn that it doesn't work like that. And you will get no enjoyment out of food or life if your whole day is just thinking around calories in, calories out. Um, and it's more about the nutritional quality of your diet, what enjoyment you get from it, and things as well, rather than just thinking about numbers. So that period never lasted, never lasted very long. And then I think I've just been quite lucky since then. I've always had a quite good relationship with food. I think because I know what how you can eat to make yourself feel better, but also not feeling guilty about times when I want to eat food that people would usually classify as unhealthy. If that's where when it's not, it's just that you have to think about how often you have particular foods. All foods should be included in order to have a good balance and to enjoy the different foods that we've got available. When you're talking about things like fruit and veg, they often the cheesy saying that a lot of people say is like to try and eat the colours of the rainbow, because if you were to just eat 5 apples every day, it's not going to give you the range of nutrients that you would get from eating a large variety. So usually different colours and fruits and veg tend to um, almost indicate that there's different vitamins and minerals in each one. So it's quite good to try and make sure that you get a huge variety in order to get lots of lovely nutrients from it. Yeah, so I suppose that's well, it's quite important in the kind of couple of different job roles that I've got within my NHS role. Then 100% every day we're working within a team. So I have to work closely with doctors, nursing staff, physios, speech and language therapists. And the reason that we need to do that is that our plan, we need to make sure that someone is eating and nourishing themselves well enough that they have the potential to get over their acute illness, so whatever's brought them into hospital in the first place. um, or maybe it's to help them get stronger. So if they have been off their feet for a little while because of their illness, how can we make sure they're eating well enough in order to get stronger, to get home, get back into like a normal way of life, or treating certain health conditions. And that can all kind of work in together with the doctors, what medications they're prescribing. Sometimes it has an impact on what nutrition someone needs to be taking in and different things like that. With regards to sports nutrition, if you're working closely with a team, you have to work with coaches, sports scientists, sometimes club psychologists and things, in order to make sure that the athlete is getting the right amount of nutrition in order to optimise their performance. Of most roles that you would be in as a dietitian, there's some sort of element of working as a team member some way. Yeah, so I've dipped in and out. So my freelance sports nutrition work tends to come often as talks and presentations that I tend to do for clubs. So I've done a little bit in football, I've done some in rugby, I've done some for swimming and cycling and kind of triathlon. So it tends to be maybe implementing or doing a presentation and then implementing and following them up maybe for a couple of weeks after, and then coming back to see how they've got on. So it's interesting. I would love to work if I could get to do a little bit more full time in sports. I'd love it. I just find it really interesting, and how what someone eats can make a huge difference to how well they perform. And usually the athletes are just so into trying to get themselves better in whatever area it might be. So they really want to take on board your advice, and that usually means that you can get a really good rapport with the athlete in order to make sure that they're doing what they can to obviously to win, or whatever, in whatever sport it is they're doing. So it is. I'd love to do a bit more of it. So, but it's trying to get your foot in the door in Scotland's a bit difficult. I probably shouldn't say this. Sometimes, maybe not so much now, but sometimes I am quite aware of who I maybe tell, what my job is, because I think sometimes people immediately think, oh, I can't eat that around you, or they maybe want to ask you a million and one questions when it's maybe not the most appropriate environment to do it. One of the first things that people say is, oh, I shouldn't be eating that in front of you, and I'm like, yes, you should. It's fine. I eat all foods, and I'm thinking, I often end up saying, it's fine. I had that yesterday, or Um, okay, it's hard. I think it depends on what area that you work in. I think it's probably one of my biggest frustrations just now is actually trying to make sure that the majority of people, so if we take social media for example, it's making sure that people on social media get the right information. So I know we'll probably chat about this as the chat goes on, but there's so much misinformation out there because of influencers, or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but people who are not qualified trying to give nutrition advice when they're not qualified to do so. And I think because they have such a large following, it makes people think, oh well, what they're saying must be right. And I think that probably makes our job particularly hard because people are very passionate about nutrition, and it means that people will very much believe what someone else has told them. If they think, oh, it's worked for them, then it must work for me. Whereas everyone is different, and I think when the right information isn't given to you and people aren't given the basics on how to eat well, and they start trying to catch into different trends, that's when things get really difficult, and it makes our job hard sometimes in order to change someone's belief of something that maybe isn't in their best interest for their health, which can make it hard. So I would say more from a personal point of view, it's just been a really nice combined a nice combination of work. I've always been into sport. I've always been really active from like a young age, and I actually never planned to work as a personal trainer. I went to do a couple of years ago just more for my own interest, and I thought it might be useful after doing my sports nutrition qualifications that it might allow me, if I was to work for a club, I've got a bit more of an understanding of different exercises, different things like that. And I just thought, if I'm going to do it, I'll enjoy it, even if it's for my own benefit. And then opportunities since then have come up that's allowed me to dip my toes in, and I've actually loved it. Right. For a lot of people, there's this mentality that it's almost like a chore, that exercise is just something that we should be doing, and in some way we should be in order to stay healthy, but there's so many ways that you can make it enjoyable. And I think I talk about that if you're able to flip it on its head and try and think, what other benefits is this going to give me? How do you feel afterwards? How are you challenging yourself? Different things like that. It can sometimes just make it so much more enjoyable. So I've really enjoyed being in the gym with people who haven't really been in a gym before, or are just wanting to come in, get fitter, get stronger, and it's brilliant. And then obviously having I try and keep my profession separate, but we're obviously as a PT we're allowed to give basic health eating advice, which allows me obviously combine two passions. So it's really good. I feel like I've found a nice balance.
The calling of your life. That is brilliant, Kerri. It's super awesome. And also, and when did you join the Fitt Principle, and how has that journey been like?
Yeah, I joined the Fitt Principle in March last year. So just
wow! Congrats!
It's been really fun. I think out of all the places where I've managed to do a little bit of personal training before, it's been my favourite. It's such a lovely, for anyone who isn't familiar with it, it's just a lovely tiny little studio that myself and a couple of other PTs work in. So it's not like a big gym. You would come in just if you had a personal trainer that you'd signed up with, and the space is just lovely. So it makes your one-to-one connection really personal, and you don't have to worry about fighting people to get on equipment or being in a big busy gym. And it's really nice. I love working there. So I'm hoping that we can open back up soon.
Oh, I can imagine, because it must be hard for you guys as well to obviously not work with your clients at the moment as well. And I'm sure, are you finding like ways to do like alternatives, maybe virtual trainings?
So personally, I think some of the other guys are offering slightly different things because we're all self-employed within there. But for me, just with having to try and balance it up with my NHS work, and I'm also
because you're quite busy as well.
I was really conscious of, if I started to do one-to-one check-ins for people maybe online, I didn't want people to feel pressured doing that. I feel a lot of people have just got a lot of other stuff going on just now with either their work life has changed themselves. And so actually what I did was I made up home workout programs for my clients and just sent them almost like an ebook, and I sent them that, and I said there's no pressure. If you want to do it, you've got workout inspiration there, with workout or kind of movements that you've done before, but and splitting them up into a couple of days where they do strength training and a couple of days where they do a bit of conditioning. But I'm not, I check in with them, but I've just said there's no pressure from me to stick to anything. I think everyone's routine's just so all over the place just now that I think as much as exercise would add in health benefits and, you know, mental health benefits, I just don't think there needs to be an extra pressure and stuff. So I spoke to them and we've just decided to stick with a little home workout program that they can do through an ebook if they want. So
but I think this is amazing as well that you, like, I guess this, what I would imagine, this is what makes a great, obviously, you know, personal trainers or like yourself, because you are understanding the situation that we're in and you're putting that as well into consideration, and you're seeing how can you take this given situation that we've never been a part of before, and how can you merge it with your own work, with understanding as well the person that you're working with. And I think this is great because I'm sure they would also appreciate that you're putting that into consideration as well.
I know it's difficult to know as well that with some of the clients that I've got, you know, if they've not maybe got equipment and different things like that. So I was trying to make sure that it was like minimal equipment or using households like items, so like bottles of water or something like that, so that they could use it. But I think we need to, for a lot of people just now, as much as encourage people to move when they can, I think it's just you don't want the extra pressure of people worrying about, oh, I'm not getting to my gym sessions this week, because everyone's just got loads of stuff going on. So but yeah, hopefully we can get back soon. I've been lucky that the PT clients that I've got, I've just made really good friends actually with all of them, so I'm like, I miss you, I want to just go back to it.
Well, that's good. You'll have loads of fun after that. And also, which brings us to another question, is what would you recommend for people who prefer not to go to the gym? What sort of advice would you suggest, especially if they want to also work with you?
Okay. I think probably actually one of the first things that I would say is this is probably a good time more than any where a lot of people online are actually offering free home workouts to try. There's lots of ebooks going around, that if you're not sure or you're not comfortable with going to a gym, sometimes that's actually the best way to try it, is actually trying to do a wee bit of movement in your home and get used to working out. You feel that, and you know, follow some of the online personal trainers that you think that you like, and maybe try some of their workouts just to see if it gives you a little bit of inspiration. With regards to working for me, I've tried, my focus on my Instagram page is always usually to do with nutrition for the most part. There are times that I share maybe some of the workouts that I do to try and give some inspiration, so hopefully there's some on there. But I've got some workouts. I know we'll chat about the book at some point. There's some workouts in the back of the book as well, and then also obviously when the gym opens up, if you're in the Glasgow area, then we'll hopefully be able to get you in there. But I think that's probably the best way that I would say to get started, is don't be scared about getting started into to exercise as well. I know sometimes it can seem a little bit daunting, and I think this might actually sound, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, or it sounds quite biased, I guess, coming from a PT, but often I say that sometimes investing in a personal trainer might actually be some of the best money that you'll spend, and it's more to do with, particularly if you're not familiar with how to do particular movements in the gym, that even if it's just a short period of time, just to make sure that you're moving safely, or even to allow the PT to try and find out a bit more about you in order to get you moving in ways that you will hopefully enjoy, so it inspires you to then do it yourself. A PT never needs to be forever. I say that to all my clients, that if you want to come to me for a long period of time for me to keep you motivated, fine, but I want to try and give you the principles in order to allow you to then know how to move well, so that you can do it yourself for the rest of your life. So I think just don't be scared about maybe trying to try something new in your own house. Try some free workouts that are going on just now from qualified personal trainers online, or and just see if there's new things that you would enjoy doing. So some of the good PTs that I've been actually doing some of myself is like Alice Living stuff, Shona Virtue. They're all posting like great workouts that are really fun, and you're able to do in your own home with like, sometimes they just say that you need a chair, or sometimes it's weight, and it just allows you to get moving. It could be a good way to start.
That's amazing. And also, what's the few things people should put into consideration when it comes to their mental and physical well-being?
I would say probably one of the first things is just, particularly maybe if you're making changes, or you want to start making changes to make yourself feel physically better, or make yourself feel mentally better, whatever it might be, it's just to try and not do too many things at once. Sometimes I think people try and put in lots of changes. Like, we often see this at the beginning of each new year, people try and do 1,000,001 things all at once to try and get themselves healthier. But it really, if people are able to just focus on a couple of things and do, you know, just a few things at a time, or moving on to something else, that can often be the best way to do it. But try and, like I was saying earlier on about exercise, and try and flip it on its head. So a lot of people think about making healthier choices as boring or as a chore, or it doesn't need to be like that. And it can be, if you try and allow yourself to think, oh, I'm going to be able to teach myself how to, you know, maybe cook something a bit more exciting in the kitchen that I know that's good for me, and get good at it. The same with exercise. And things will be difficult and stuff at times, but if you try and think of positive reasons why it would be good for you to do stuff like that, then you'll actually want to try and incorporate it into your routine, you know, more often than not.
That's amazing. That's so good. And also, how do you handle a client who has health condition you've never encountered before, but is seeking for medical nutrition therapy?
So if I've not encountered it before, the first thing that I would say is I can't give you information just now, either until I read up on it myself, so that I can get the most appropriate advice, or if I still don't feel comfortable doing it, trying to then refer the person on to someone else that is specialising in the area. So as a dietitian, like, I would say my speciality, well, one is sports nutrition, and then I've got a different speciality that I might focus on when I'm in my NHS job. So there are different people, once you work in your career for a little while, you'll tend to maybe work in for just a short period of time. And what I would say is that it's best, I would always try and refer on to people, you know, where possible, just to make sure that they're getting the right advice.
Oh, I can imagine. That's really good. And also, what's your opinion on all the ads you see online with influencer advertising product to their followers relating to fast weight loss and other more that obviously you were talking about?
If there is ever a time that we are able to ban them from ever getting advertised anywhere, I think that would be my dream come true.
I can imagine.
It's a shame, because I think, like I said earlier on, when influencers or celebrities and things share products like this, very rarely have they been using them themselves. They're getting paid in order to advertise them for the company, and they often tend to have ingredients in there that are not good for us, that aren't healthy, and will often encourage weight loss through means that we wouldn't recommend. So, for example, they'll contain laxatives, they'll maybe contain diuretics, which means that it'll cause you to pee more. So it's not that you're actually losing body fat, it's that you're just losing water weight, or, you know, if you're going to the toilet and stuff like that. So that it's a really unhealthy way to lose weight. And if that's why I think as a dietitian, I was keen to get online more, because I feel weird, our voices need to be heard a bit more, so that we can try and make sure that people are able to get evidence-based information and know that you know what stuff to avoid. But it's trying to get our voices heard over some of the influencers or celebrities.
I mean, it's crazy, like, you see it everywhere. It's like, that's what you see literally when you're logged in. It's like people giving all these advice. I'm like, you know, if you're not obviously, you know, qualified on that area, that's a very dangerous thing, obviously, to do, especially on this driven social media world that we live in as well. You know what I mean?
I think we've probably, I would say, over the last year, there's definitely been some sort of positive change. I definitely think there's more dietitians or qualified nutritionists online that are helping to promote the right information, but I still think we've got a long way to go yet. But all we can do is just try to keep doing what we're doing to hopefully try and encourage people to listen to the right information. But I think we've got a long way to go yet before they're completely out of the way.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there.
And also, how has social media influenced a lot of dietitian and PT?
I would say it's helped a lot, and it's actually probably taken, but it's taken me down different routes that I never thought that I would work in. So when I started using social media a good couple of years ago on this like page, I never actually really, I think I kind of almost started it in order to try and maybe build up a bit of an online presence with regards to sports nutrition, and then that's when I started to see that there was a bit of a gap in the market with regards to dietitians just offering evidence-based information. So I was having to see all the information or all the wrong information that was getting put out there, and that's where I started to maybe post information that was maybe more relatable to the general public who want to be able to eat better. So that's why at times I post sports nutrition information, but my social media channels have definitely taken a little bit of a like a different turn, I guess, in order to try and encourage people to eat better, who are just the general public and things like that, because of the amount of misinformation that's out there. But yeah, it's been good. I never thought I would end up using it as much as what I do now in order to get information. But yeah, it's a nice little addition to the job.
The job as well. That's awesome. And also, now we're talking about the book. So when did you decide to write a book, and also how was that process like?
Yeah, so the book all started around the beginning of 2018, and this is the kind of stuff that I was meaning when I was saying it's taken me down different avenues. Because I never thought, if someone had asked me years ago, would I like to write a book, or would I have ever loved to write a nutrition book, I would have been like, oh my god, yes. But I would have never seen the opportunity, I guess, because I would have never, I just probably wouldn't have thought about it. Through using social media, that the publishers that I work with were kind enough to get in touch to ask if it was an opportunity that I wanted to and yeah, it's just all stemmed from.
So somebody actually approached you to give you kind of the. That's amazing. That's really, really good.
So it's been great, and that's where I've been really thankful for using social media. Like I said, it's just taken different avenues, and I've learned a lot along the way with doing the book. It's been hard work because I had to keep my NHS job going at the same time, and I was still trying to build up personal training, and as well as writing the book. And the publishers are great, but they're based in Germany, so I organise a lot of the stuff myself with regards to so that if anyone hasn't seen the book or anything already, it's a nutrition book, and then it's got recipes and then a workout bit at the back. So I had to organise all the recipes and obviously make them up, but then get them photographed, and we did it in my flat and with backdrops.
They look amazing, by the way. And actually, I just actually bought it on. I just wanted to let you know as well. I got it on the Kindle, so it's been added on my Kindle right here.
Thank you.
So I remember I told you I was going. So I'm just starting, but after obviously this is over, I will continue on reading it. But yeah, I mean the graphic looks great. You get to see like things like this. I mean, anybody like you should definitely check it out. So I mean, you done really job well done. I love the aesthetics and everything.
Blood, sweat, and tears is when
I can imagine. Also, I see there you cook so many different variety of food for a lot of people to obviously check and comfort of their own house. But also, can you tell me through all the food that you've made, what are your top 10 favorite recipes that you made there?
Probably one of, did you say 10 favorites?
Yeah, 10 favorites, because I know there's so many.
So many.
So if you can narrow it down, there's so many good ones. I could.
Well, I would definitely say I've been doing a few Instagram lives over the last few weeks, and definitely my top 3. So chili, I've done banana and blueberry muffins, we've done caramel brownies, I've got a lovely lentil and chickpea curry, which is one of my favourites. For anyone that knows me, I absolutely love porridge, which I know sounds really weird, but there's so many porridge in there.
It's really good.
Mix it up so many ways. My mum's carrot cake recipes in there, and Hands down,
Wow.
best carrot cake you will ever have.
Really? I love carrot cake. Well, I'm gonna have to try that out.
That's a good one. There's
Yeah.
a lot of recipe in it, and I don't know. There's a not in a big headed way, but there's lots of good recipes in there.
Oh, so listen, you have to own, you have to believe. See, that's the thing is, well, you have to believe in your own work. So this is great. I'm gonna check it out, and I'll give you back the reviews on, but they look fantastic though. They look, oh my God, they just look so good.
I promise that mine don't always look that good when I make them myself. That was with with a good photographer that was able to to make them look
Really
that
good ones. Amazing. And also, do you sometimes feel like people have their eyes on you whenever you treat yourself with a snack or have different food choices on your cheat days, let's say, for example?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I don't have cheat days. I have to say, I'm not I suppose a fan of that, because I think it
Yeah.
makes people think that food is good or bad. So if they're cheating,
Ah, yeah.
I definitely would say if we call it a treat, I don't know if that's the right word either, but I enjoy like food that I would say I often like to call it soul food. So food that makes you just feel good. Like we all know that, for example, like a bar of chocolate or something, our favourite chocolate, taking it in, or that. That I just think, as much as we need to be mindful how often we have stuff like that, it's important to include foods that we know we just have them because they taste good. So I have stuff like that. If actually probably every day, or most days anyway. Whether it's a cup of tea with a nice like biscuit, or for anyone obviously that's been following me for a while, I love baking, so I'm always trying to make something, some sort of sweet and stuff in the kitchen. But no, I definitely think there's been times when I have maybe been out for dinner with people that maybe don't know me very well, and they'll be like, "Oh, are you getting dessert?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the best bit."
Yeah.
So, but I think it's just, it's like we said at the beginning, what people think when they hear a dietitian, they often think we're the food police and we wouldn't eat anything that you wouldn't expect to do. It's just, I think it's trying to change that opinion's the difficult part though.
That's amazing. And also, what makes this book so special to you personally?
Um, I guess one reason I'm really passionate about it is that I think there's obviously a need for us to get on, for dietitians obviously to get on social media in order to put evidence-based information out there, but it's sometimes not what everyone uses. First, I would like to think that a book in some way is going to be the most accessible for people. Obviously, like you said, you can get it in hard copy, you can get it on the ebook, and I've really spent a lot of time. The first part of the book has got a lot of nutrition information in it, and I think people would maybe think, oh God, it's like a textbook. It's not. I've tried to write it in a way that allows you to,
it's relatable as well.
Yeah, and I've tried to make it so that it's not trying to I'm not trying to educate you as a dietitian through it. It's to get your information, to get the right information out to you in order for you to understand the basics of nutrition, because I think that's what a lot of the time where things go wrong is that people will start a diet, people will cut things out, and they haven't actually educated themselves on how to actually eat well once they come off a diet. So my passion is to actually encourage people to know how to eat well for life, and if they know, for example, what food is good for them, why we should be trying to have things like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and food for them. They should be able to hopefully, make good meals in order to get all the different nutrients without having to follow diets and that's the whole. I think that's probably one of the reasons I'm as passionate about it as what I am, because I feel that it would really help people to get the basics right, so that they don't have to listen to all the rubbish or feel pressured to go on a diet in order to feel better. So yeah.
Oh, that's really good. And also, what can reader expect from this book once they?
So like I said, the first chunk of the book is all about the basics of nutrition. So I go through the kind of 5 main food groups, and I talk about the kind of typical portion sizes of them and how to do handy measures so that you're not having to weigh food out, because I always think, how are people weighing food out all the time, the people that do that? I'm like, I don't know how you can keep that up. I talk about trying to understand calories, but not that you should be counting them every day. Like, that's not a way to live either.
Yeah.
I talk about how to food shop healthy. We talk about food and skin health, food and gut health. I've also got a little area in it about sports nutrition, obviously with that being a passion of mine. So if you're someone that exercises a lot or an athlete, I've got different information in there as well. And then we go on to the recipe section. So there's breakfast recipes, lunch, dinners, healthy snacks. There's the sweet indulgence section, which has got lots of lovely bacon recipes, and then there's like dips and spreads. And then the bit at the very back is like a progressive workout that you can do. So there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced kind of workout program that I've put in the back of it as well. So
it sounds amazing. Honestly, guys, I would really highly recommend you guys to buy and check it out as well. It's honestly, Kerri is amazing, honestly.
Thank you.
Also, do you ever plan on writing another book?
I think I'm still trying to get over this one.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because like you said, it takes a long time, obviously, yeah.
Do you know, as much as it was stressful at times, it was really enjoyable, and I learned a lot from doing it, and it was really fun. So I would definitely say yes to do another one. I would just have to think about what other information could I try and get out there, because I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I really feel that the book that I've written so far has got pretty much everything that you're going to need in order to get started on eating better, moving better, and things like that. But no, I definitely would say yes to doing another book if it ever came up, but nothing in the pipeline just now.
That's amazing. That's so good. And also, how have you been yourself during this quarantine as well? How have you been keeping up?
Yeah, good. I think I'm just in the same boat of everyone else. I'm probably starting to get a bit bored by it. Just people,
like, when are you going to be over it?
not at all. I think it's trying to get used to it. I suppose in some way I'm really fortunate that I'm still in a job. I'm still able to go to my NHS job, as much as it's not the most pleasant place to be working at the minute with everything that's going on. I'm still able to get to work. I'm still able to socialise in some way with other people, which I know for a lot of people that will be making things really difficult just now if they're stuck in their own home. So I'm fortunate in many ways compared to some other folk that I know that are maybe stuck inside. But okay, I miss people. I'm actually not so much missing doing things like as much as what I thought I would be. I actually am just see if we were allowed to go and see people.
I see what you mean.
I'm missing seeing friends and family, but it's all going to be worth it. It'll pass, and we just have to try and make sure that we're following the right guidance and staying healthy as much as we can. So
that's amazing. Talking as well about the family, how are they doing? Are they doing okay?
They're all doing good. We've managed to obviously everyone's avoided everything so far and are doing what they're told and staying in and stuff. But I'm just it's rubbish not being able to see them. I'm really close to my family, so it's rubbish. But we're lucky we live. It's happening at a time now where we've got things like FaceTime and
and Zoom.
You can see them through that. So
that's really good. And also, how would you approach our new normal after the pandemic, and how do you think it would affect work as well?
Oh, it's hard. I do think it's going to affect how our work is going to be. And like you said, I definitely think we're going to have a new normal after this. How it will affect my work in the hospital, I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in how we have to interact with our patients, and for example, we're all having to wear masks and everything just now in the hospital. Is that something that we're going to have to do all the time? I don't know. With regards to like personal training, I think for a while anyway we're going to have to make sure that we're social distancing in gyms. I don't know how that's going to work, but I think it's not going to go away, I don't think, for a while yet. I think we're going to have to get used to a new normal for a little while. How long that will be, I don't know.
No, that's really good. And also, do you have any advice to give our viewers on how to stay safe? The whole bit.
Yeah, I guess it's
our last question as well.
I know. I think well, obviously, just going from what the guidance is, the main thing that we're all getting told to do is just to make sure that we keep our hand hygiene up, and obviously make sure that, you know, if you're out, you're social distancing. That's still the appropriate rules just now. If you can't if it's tricky to social distance, we obviously should be wearing masks where possible. But I think the main thing we've always just been told is just to make sure we hand hygiene as much as we can, make sure that we don't cough and sneeze everywhere and wash our
sneeze everywhere. I think every time someone sneeze in the streets, I think everybody all have a different reaction now since Corona.
But it's hard.
I can imagine.
For a lot of people, we just need to try and do lots of things every day that make us feel good, because I think, like I was saying earlier on, that I understand it'll be a tricky time for people just now when they maybe can't see family, they can't get out and about, and I know it'll be hard, but I think it's making sure that you try and do something every day that you know is good for you. So if it is getting up and doing a bit of movement, if it's making sure you spend a little bit of time reading or calling a friend or something like that, just to try and keep ourselves happy and healthy at the same time.
Oh, well, you know, Kerri, thank you so much for giving us all these advice.
Not at all.
And also, thank you. No, honestly, thank you so much even agreeing being here. This is amazing. You know, you've helped people, and I'm sure a lot of people will take a lot from this. And honestly, you guys, I couldn't advise anymore. Just go and purchase the book and share with anybody else that you know will need this. And I repost this as well on, you know, on social media so people can rewatch the rerun and everything. And I can't wait to see more recipe that you will keep us up to date with.
Thank you. No, it's been lovely having a chat with you and catching up with you again. I appreciate you having me on.
No, thank you so much. Hopefully I'll see you after this when this is all over. Right?
Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's not too long away.
Too long, right?
I know.
Thank you so much, Kerri.
You're welcome.
Obviously go and keep doing what you have to do. But thanks everybody for being here, and have a lovely rest of the day, Kerri, okay?
Thank you, you too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.